What's up everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today is going to be a secret TBR video. I've been wanting to make this video for so long, and I just haven't been able to put it together, but it's happening now. We're going to do it. And so this is going to be a whole video about me reading cult books. If you guys have seen previously, like, I do love cult books, or at least I have dabbled in a little bit of them, and I have been like impressed. You guys probably already know that I love the Roanoke Girls, that one was just so dark and disturbing, and so I really wanted to get more into cult books. So I picked a couple different ones that I want to read. I'm not sure exactly how many of these are going to be in this vlog yet, but I do know that I'm starting one right now. So let me go ahead and I will show you the ones that I have. The one that I'm going to be starting right away is Hollywood Park, and this is a non-fiction. It's a memoir. I believe that this just came out this year. This is an advanced reading copy, but yeah, it came out May 5th of 2020. I am really excited. I actually saw the author on like a news like interview type of thing when I was visiting my dad. It was just randomly like on the TV, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think that's like the book that I've been like looking at that I want to read. And so this like talks about how he was part of this like really big cult in California, and that he literally like got away from it, and his experience with like, you know, being in that. So I really like that this is nonfiction, because like this actually happened in the United States. You know, that just blows my mind and is crazy to me. Okay, the two that I know I'm definitely getting to, like hands down getting to, one of them is The Sound of Gravel. This copy I just got at my library, so I believe it was published a little while ago, like 2015 I think. But this is actually about a polygamy family, so that's really crazy. I'm really excited to read something like this, because you guys know that like The Wives by Taryn Fisher has like that polygamy aspect in it, but it just didn't have enough for me. So this is going to be really crazy, because this is also a non-fiction. Sorry, my books are sliding everywhere. So like I said, this is also a non-fiction, which is just, it just blows my mind like that this stuff happens. This is about a girl who was one of 39, no, she was 39th of her father's 42 children, growing up in a farm in rural Mexico. And that just like, I'm so excited to read this, like literally cannot wait. Then the other one that I'm definitely going to get to is Cruel Beautiful World. Now this is a fiction book, and my friend Gwen actually bought this for me for my birthday a couple months ago, and she's been waiting so much for me to read this, and I've been like, shh, I'm doing a secret TBR. So finally, hopefully I'll be able to tell her my thoughts about it. But I'm really excited about this. I think this one is supposedly based in, yeah, 1969. A 16-year-old Lucy is about to run away with a much older man to live off the grid in rural Pennsylvania, a rash act that will have frightening repercussions for both her and her older sister Charlotte. So I'm guessing that like she runs away with this older man and then becomes part of a cult, but you're super excited for this one. So this is so far the only fiction book that I've picked out of this. And then I have two other ones that are contenders, if I can get to them. I'm not sure how long this vlog is going to be, but I have The Girls by Emma Cline, but I have heard that it's very similar to Cruel Beautiful World, but that it's not as good. So I don't know, we'll have to see. This one is kind of short though, so yeah, I mean, it's in there. And then another one, this is actually a thriller that people have said has like cultish stuff in it, or is about a cult, and this is The Marriage Pact. This is newlyweds Alice and Jake are a picture perfect couple, and I guess they become part of this like pact thing, and you're not allowed to mention the pact to anyone, and they like go to these like glamorous parties and I don't know, do stuff like that. And so this is like part of a cult type of thing. So yeah, I would say that these two are the ones that I am not as excited about, but I mean, who knows, I might still like them, but I am going to prioritize these first three in this vlog. So I am really hoping that I like some of these books. They just like, I don't know, they seem really, really awesome. Also, if you guys have more recs that have cults in them, make sure you drop them down below for me, because if this video goes really well, then I would probably want to do another one in the future with cult books as well. And if I read enough and like enough of them, then I'll do a cult recommendations video in the future too. Okay, so that's it. You guys can also let me know down in the comments which book you think I'm going to rate from like highest to lowest. I think I did that in my thriller one, and so I actually think that for some reason I think that The Sound of Gravel is going to be in my #1 spot, so I'll try and put the images here, but I think The Sound of Gravel is going to be first. Then I actually think Cruel Beautiful World is going to be second. Then I think Hollywood Park is going to be third, and then I don't know, I kind of think that The Marriage Pact is going to be fourth, and then The Girls by Emma Cline is going to be fifth, because I haven't heard that many great things about it, but we'll just have to see what happens at the end. Okay, it's 8:23 in the evening, but I'm going to sit down and knock out as much as I can of Hollywood Park, and I will update you guys in a little bit. Okay, you guys, so I finished Hollywood Park. I know that there wasn't any like actual reading updates, but that's because I was really contemplating on whether I should keep this in this vlog or not. Like, I feel so bad now because this was the first book that I talked about, so then my whole intro I would have to get rid of and redo. And the reason that I say that is because this book wasn't really about cults. This book is actually, it is a memoir about this guy, Mikhail, that grew up, well, like only partly grew up in a cult. So his parents went to Synanon, I think that's how you say it, which is a like commune cult thing in California. But they left once he was 4, so he doesn't have a whole bunch of memories from that, like, you know, time of his life being in a cult. But at the same time, you kind of see how just like having those couple years in the cult, or even his brother who was older than him and his parents that were in the cult, there still were effects on his life, you know, like for his whole life. So the cult that he was in, they tried to like say that they were like a drug rehab place, but then they ended up like beating a lot of people for punishment. And they also took all of the children away from the parents when they were 6 months old and put them in this place they called the school, where just a couple people would like teach them. The kids didn't know like who their parents actually were, and they like never got to see their parents at all. And so he talks about how like one day this lady just shows up at the school and is like, I'm your mom, you're coming with me, we're leaving. And then like that's how like he gets taken out of the school and everything. The one thing about the school is that they taught the kids at a very early age, so he was like so much more advanced than anybody else that was his age because of the fact that he was in that school. So he like talked really well. I think it said like he went to kindergarten, like once his mom like left the cult, she put him in school, and they were like, I think he needs to be in 3rd grade. And she like didn't want him to like get made fun of because of like 3rd graders are so much older. So she like kept just having him, like she put him back into kindergarten, was like, no, like he's staying in kindergarten. But that's like how much more advanced he was compared to kids his age. The thing is though, like with his mom being in a cult, she dealt with some mental illnesses, and so he always talks like as a little kid about how she would fall into depression, and there was a lot of stuff that got put on his shoulders. Like he seems to be kind of an empath, so he would try and always like say the right things to his mom to make her feel better, and she didn't really take in people's feelings into consideration. So like even if he said he was sad, she would be like, no, you're not, you're happy, like you're happy. And so growing up that way kind of really, I don't know if I want to say like hurt his character or what it is, but he dealt with just a lot of stuff. So they were in poverty for a really long time, and it just goes through like, this is literally a book about his life from like his earliest memories of 4 all the way up until now. The other thing is though, is like he talks a lot about his dad, and I do really, really like his dad. In this book, his mom and dad were split. So like it was an okay book. I think I'm gonna rate it 3.5 stars. I listened to it with the audio on Scribd because that's like my new favorite way to read books. So like I would suggest doing that, like reading both of them together, because the font is pretty tiny. So it's a little harder, it's like more dense to get through. But in saying that, like there wasn't a lot of cult-ish stuff in here. So I don't really feel like this is a cult book. I feel like it was, maybe it's my fault, but I feel like it was marketed wrongly. I feel like that's what I've seen it marketed as, but maybe that was my own fault for just like reading the back, and it talks about how like he grew up in a cult or whatever. Yeah, so that's the first book of this cult vlog. Not really about a cult because it was only for the first couple years of his life, but for a memoir I thought it was actually pretty good. Like he writes stories really well, so it was pretty interesting. So yeah, that's it for that. I'm pretty sad because I was really looking forward to, you know, just like reading something all about like cults. Like I really thought when I saw like his interview on TV, I thought that it was like, I thought he was in the cult for a lot of years of his life. So I guess I just misunderstood. In saying that, if you like memoirs, go ahead and check that one out. If you don't like memoirs, skip that book, and let's get into the actual cult books now, please. Okay, you guys, so I was able to pick another book up to read for this vlog because I've been, you know, also doing Jeopardy. So there was a prompt that I was able to pick up this next book. And I'm going to read Cruel, Beautiful World, which I think I told you guys. I don't remember what list I put everything in. But I think this one was pretty high up there, and so I haven't started it yet. But it says it's 1969 and 16-year-old Lucy is about to run away with a much older man to live off the grid in rural Pennsylvania, a rash act that will have frightening repercussions for both her and her older sister Charlotte. So I know it is like labeled as historical fiction on Goodreads, and I don't really like historical fiction, but it's about cults, and so I'm really hoping that that part of the story will be exciting enough for me to not be bored like from the historical fiction. So yeah, I am going to start reading this. I actually set a kind of timer thing. So there's this new app that my team members on my Jeopardy team in my book club told me about, and it's called the Forest app. And so I started a 60-minute like kind of timer thing, but what it does is it like is planting a tree while you're not using your phone. And I have it on like the deep focus mode, so like I can't use any other apps on my phone or it will kill my tree. And I also am doing it with friends, so like I have friends in my Jeopardy team like doing it with me, and so if any of us would like be on our phone and like close out this app, or like you have to say like give up, I think it kills all of our trees. So it's been like super helpful because it like really helps for like, okay, I start that, I can't stop it because obviously I don't want to kill other people's trees, but then I like get a bunch of focused work done. So I have been knocking out the books this month just because I've been doing the Forest app, and then I've been listening to the audiobook while I read the physical book, and I like speed it up to like 3, and it just like I can read so fast then. So it's been a good month so far, but I'm excited. I'm gonna start this and I will update you guys in a bit. So I still have 23 minutes left on my timer, but I got to chapter 2 and I wanted to update you guys. Chapter 1 was 34 pages, so that was like a pretty long chapter, but I am loving it so much. Like, oh my gosh, it is starting out with obviously like her being 16 and kind of like how her and her teacher fell in love. Her teacher is 30 years old, and so it is just like getting so good because she's running away like with her teacher to go to this place in Pennsylvania. And oh my gosh, I can already see like it being like the story being set up, but it is so incredibly good because you guys know how I love like age gap romances. And then also just like with the factor of it being taboo and like them having to like sneak around, it almost feels like I'm reading like another book that's almost like All the Ugly and Wonderful Things, where their romance seems so pure, if that makes any sense. So I am loving it so much. Like I am really feeling like, I know it's only chapter 1, but I'm really feeling like this could be a 5-star, and I cannot wait to like just read this the rest of the day because it's gonna be so good. Like that also means that a big part of the cult is probably going to be in the book, which is what I'm also super excited for. So I feel like this has like 2 of my favorite things in it: age gap romance and cults. Come on guys, this is gonna be awesome. I'm just like, ugh. Okay, before I keep reading, I need to give a big shout out to Gwen over at Gwendolyn Kessinger, because she's the one that bought me this book for my birthday. And oh my gosh, if this is a 5-star read, like Gwen, you need to pick all my books from now on because it's so good. Hello, you guys. So today, it's the next day, obviously, or the next night. I read a good chunk of this book yesterday. Yesterday, I read up to page 230 in Cruel Beautiful World, and I am still really, really loving it. It definitely took a different turn than I thought it was going to, but like there's just so much I want to like talk about, and I should have done a spoiler vlog for this book because it's so good. Like the emotion, it's one of the most emotional books in my opinion that I've read. The one older lady, Iris, like her story was heartbreaking to me. Like I don't know what it was, but like I loved reading the chapters of her story, of her past, of like how she got from like where she was to like where she is now. It's so good. And then of course I really like reading about Lucy, who is the girl that ran away with that teacher. And so like I'm just loving it. But like the part that I got to yesterday, it had like kind of like a twist kind of thing. So something happened that I didn't expect to happen, but I honestly feel like this isn't labeled as a thriller, but it is so thrilling. Like my heart is beating when I'm reading this book. It's beating fast. Hopefully my heart's beating. Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm about to read for an hour with my friends. So we started an hour forest timer. And I have a little rain thing on YouTube and some candles. Let me show you. Ah, it's so cozy. And then I have a glass of wine. And yeah, we're gonna get reading. I'm really excited for this. So let's go ahead and read more of this amazingly beautiful book. What's up, you guys? Okay, so I finished Cruel Beautiful World, and 2 things. Number 1, this was not actually a cult book. I feel like this vlog is not going like how I expected it to go. I have now read and finished 2 books that I thought had cults or cult elements in them, and then didn't. But this book was a 5-star read. So it's one of my new all-time favorites. So I really want to talk about it. So whatever, we're just gonna keep going on with the flow. We don't care that much that this video isn't turning out as great as we thought it was gonna be, but it's fine. It's still content, still good content, because 5-star read right here. This book falls in like 1969, early 70s. And at first I just thought it was gonna be about Lucy, because that's like kind of all it really says in the back, is about Lucy who runs away with an older man. So she runs away with her school teacher, who is like 30 and she's only 16, and they run away to rural Pennsylvania, which I guess is why I thought, like, because of the, you know, 60s and 70s vibes, and with her running away, I thought that they were running away to like a commune. Now, one of the characters in here, like, actually did live in a commune, so like I guess there's kind of cult vibes in here, and it talks a lot about like Charles Manson. So I mean, technically I guess this does still kind of fall into that, but like I thought this book was gonna be like, you know, actually about cults. If you liked All the Ugly and Wonderful Things, like if you've read that book, this book reminded me of that so much, and I think that's why I just loved it so much, because it has that forbidden romance in it, but then the characters in this book, they're just written so well. Like they're some of my favorite characters ever. Lucy's like adoptive mom, which we find out more about her later on, but anyway, her name is Iris, and I thought that I wasn't gonna like reading about that character at all, just because she's older, like she's in her, like, I think it's 80s now. She's in like her 60s and 70s and 80s, like throughout the whole book, because it talks about her story. But anyway, like we go back and we find out like all of her story from back when she was like young and first got married. And I was like crying about this book, just because Iris, like I felt so bad for her in this book, or like I cared a lot about her life. And then there were just some parts that I was like really happy for her, but then other parts that like it broke my heart for her. And so I don't know, Iris was like one of my favorite characters in this book. We also read from Charlotte's perspective, which is Lucy's sister. So there's like 3 or 4-ish different perspectives in this book, but it was just done so well, so you weren't confused all the time, and the story flows like this book was actually really thrilling. Like my heart was beating at what was gonna happen, and there were definitely parts that I was shocked at, that I didn't know it was gonna go that direction. You guys should know, like I don't like historical fiction at all, so I am very surprised that I like this, and it's very emotional. So if you like emotional books, if you love like characters within books, if you still want kind of a thrilling read but you want a forbidden romance, like this book fits so many of those. And so this is now a new all-time favorite. I love it so much, and I think that way more people should read it. But I looked up this author, Caroline Leavitt, I guess is how you say it, Leavitt, I don't know. But I looked her up, and she has like 4 or 5 other books that are available at my library. So I went and put like every single one of them on hold, because the synopsises sound like right up my alley. Like they sound very emotional, like actual heartbreaking stories, and some of them were actually about like married couples, which you guys know I've been looking for more like books about married couples. So I am so excited, and like, oh my gosh, like there's a part that I can't talk about, but like there's a part where like Iris is 80, and I just am so glad that like Caroline put that in this book. Like I wish I could like say what it is, but there was like something that happens with Iris, and I was like, you go girl, for being 80 years old and still getting that done. Like I just thought that was so cool, because you never hear about like romances with like older people. And I might be weird about that, but like I just thought that was so cool. I just thought it was so wholesome. Like Iris's story, so heartbreaking. I'm sorry. I know I'm not making any sense. I really wish that I would have made this a spoiler vlog, but I didn't know. But now I know. Now I know that this should have been a spoiler vlog. So you guys should read this. I think a lot of people would like it. And I think she also has another book that's coming out, and I think it's on NetGalley. I'll pop it up here, but it's on NetGalley. So I requested it, and I'm really hoping to get it because I want to read it very badly. But if you guys want to check it out, I think it comes out, I forget what it said, if it was August or what it said. But anyway, so really loved this book. Now we'll have to see if the next couple books that I read for this vlog are actually about cults, or we're just gonna have to call this totally something else. What's up, everybody? It is another day, and we're going to tackle another book that we think is about cults, that hopefully is about cults. So there is a book that I just recently read. You guys probably know of it. It's called Educated. I'll pop it up here. And I just finished that today, this morning. And I should have totally put that in this video, because even though it's not actually like about an actual cult, I feel like it had just everything. Like it just resembled a cult so much, because it was about this family who were like extremely strict Mormons, but the dad suffered from bipolar disorder, and that caused like him to be really strict. He thought that like Y2K was coming in 2000, and he believed in like the end of the world, and everything he did was like to plan for the end of the world. And it was actually told, it's a memoir told by one of the daughters, because I think they had 7 kids, and it's how she educated herself, because like they didn't like do any education, like not even actual homeschooling. So she taught herself to like read and write, and eventually she went to college. But like reading her story, like to think that that's an actual true story, it was so, it was unbelievable. It was so crazy. So even though I didn't actually read that book for this vlog, I wanted to mention it, and I wanted to say, like, if you enjoy cult books and you like that mindset of things, then you have to read Educated, because I literally could not believe that like this book was just like that, because there were just so many things that the parents did to the children, or had the children do, or that the children believed because the parents told them to believe in that. And it's just, there's like no words, there's no words, but it was a 5-star read. I loved it so much. Like it did make me like just sick thinking about how like there are probably children in the world that are still growing up like this. Because like that wasn't that long ago. Like I think that was definitely in 2000. And so then I don't think she went to college until 2008. So that wasn't that long ago. So that's crazy. I need to change my battery because my camera's dying, but then I'm gonna show you the next book that I'm reading. Okay, so the next book that we're gonna be tackling for this vlog is The Sound of Gravel. And this is also a memoir, and this is about polygamy. So it is written, I think, from one of the children. It says, Ruth Werner was the 39th of her father's 42 children, growing up on a farm in rural Mexico where authorities turn a blind eye to the practices of her community. Ruth lives in a ramshackle house without indoor plumbing or electricity. At church, preachers teach that God will punish the wicked by destroying the world, and that women can only ascend to heaven by entering into polygamous marriages and giving birth to as many children as possible. After Ruth's father, the man who had been the founding prophet of the colony, is brutally murdered by his brother in a bid for church power, her mother remarries, becoming the second wife of another faithful congregant. Oh my gosh. So there's more of the synopsis, but I don't want to just sit here and read that. I'm going to start this book. Obviously, I think you guys know that like I like reading about the concept of polygamy, because to me, I would never be able to do that. I am way too jealous of a person, but I am so excited to read this. So I'm gonna start this. I probably won't be able to knock the rest of it out tonight because it is like 6:30, but I'm gonna try and read this like tonight and then obviously tomorrow, and I'm just really hoping that I like it, because I just cannot believe that like these books are true stories. Like, oh my gosh, you guys. Also, before we get any further, if you know of any like cult TV shows or movies that you could rec to me, I've already seen a couple of them. Like I saw, gosh, I don't even remember what it was called. It was this like really crazy weird one that was like the weirdest movie I've ever seen in my life. It was amazing. It was on Amazon Prime, and oh my gosh, so good. Midsummer, that's what it was called. Oh my gosh, if you haven't watched that, you have to, but it is the craziest thing I've ever watched in my life. But if you have other cult recommendations, I think there was one on Netflix called like Invitation or something like that, and I saw that too. And that one was like, okay. It was a little more boring than like Midsummer, but it was still like pretty good. But yeah, drop any recommendations below, because apparently I just like the weirdest things in the world, and I love just like watching and reading it. But I don't want to be a cult leader, and I don't want to be in a cult. I just want to read all about it, I guess, so I can appreciate the fact that I'm not in a cult. Well guys, I didn't even start reading yet, and you can't tell because this camera is just so good, but my power is out. Those are just night lights that are battery powered, but yeah, the rest of the house, like all the power is out because there's a storm outside. So yeah,
guess I'll just sit here and read. I have a book light that I'm gonna use because like this, in the camera, it looks like it's really light, but it's actually not. It's actually really dark. So I won't be able to read unless I have a light, but I guess that's good because my phone's only at like 46% and yeah, I'll just sit here and read and hope the power comes on soon. Okay, you guys, it's the next day because last night, like with my power being out, I tried reading for a bit, but my husband had come home and then our power came back on. So I watched the new episode of Big Brother because like, I think it's Big Brother season 22 or something like that. Just came out, so I watched, it was episode 2. I've never watched Big Brother before, actually. My friends just all told me to watch it, so I don't know, it was very cheesy to me. But anyway, I started reading The Sound of Gravel then like more today. I am actually listening to it on audio. It's on Scribd, and then I'm physically reading it because I can bump it up to 2.5 times the speed, sometimes 3 times the speed, and listen to it, and like it makes reading so much faster. I love it so much, and I feel like I don't have to take as much like mental capacity to read then because I'm being like read to, and then my eyes are just like going over the words so I know what they're saying. So I am 116 pages in. I am very much enjoying the story, but it's also, you know, like just crazy to think that this is what like people, like this is how people actually live. I cannot believe how the mother is treated in this book, like by, you know, the husband. I can't believe all the struggles. Like they legit did not have electricity or plumbing and they were freezing for years and years and years. And so like I am just in shock at these like memoirs that I'm reading this month and how you never think that people are actually living this way, and they actually are living this way, and a lot of times it's by choice. Like they decided to be part of this, you know, like polygamous community, and I just don't understand, like as a woman, like how can you be okay with that? Like how can you be okay with your husband marrying and sleeping with like these other women? I just don't know. I'm not sure exactly if her mom like has a medical condition or anything, because her mom has had I think it's 5 kids now, and a lot of them have problems. Like where I just read, the oldest daughter, Audrey, has had so many problems, and she's a teenager now, and her mom just dropped off Audrey at a mental hospital because she was getting like so incredibly violent that they just couldn't handle her anymore. And so yeah, like that was really heartbreaking to read about, just because of the fact that like I understand that what is happening in the book like is very hard. Like no one would be able to do that without having like support and help. But it also is just like heartbreaking to think that she could have gotten help a long time ago if she wasn't part of this, you know, polygamist colony thing. Then there's also a couple other of the kids, like of the siblings of the author in this book, that also are struggling with like different mental things and physical things. Like I don't know, it's just there's a lot of disabilities, and it like breaks my heart to think that like nothing is being done to help those children. So yeah, I'm 116 pages in. Like I said, it is a very interesting, intriguing book. So I am going to try and knock out probably like 100 more pages, just because that's like my goal today. I want to be able to like finish this book so that way I can get this video up for you guys to watch. But yeah, I just like these nonfiction memoirs, like gosh, they are like so interesting to read, but like they just break my heart. Okay, so literally just finished reading The Sound of Gravel, and this is like one of the saddest books I have ever read in my life. Like I was going to continue this vlog and read one more book for this vlog, but like I don't think I can mentally and emotionally like handle it, because like all of these books that I'm reading are actual like true stories and memoirs, and like just so much happened in this book. And like she even included pictures in this book. So like I have to like get a hold of myself. Okay, so like I don't want to spoil a lot of this book, but a lot of really bad things happen to all of her siblings in this book. Like there's a whole bunch of different triggers like sexual abuse and lots of death. Like so many people die or get hurt, or I just feel bad for like their mental state, like being children and being raised like this. And then like the way that it ended, and she even ended it with like a photo of her finally getting married, and like those are her siblings. But like there's a whole bunch of other pictures like throughout the book. I'm trying to find one. So here's one. This is her little brother Micah, and then the sister wives, like those are sons of the other wives, so like her stepbrothers. But like I don't know, I guess it's just like knowing that this is a true story, and then having the pictures to like, you're like seeing like these children on paper, and like you know what they went through and how hard their life was, and just like how much counseling they're gonna need like in the future. And it's just like, it is so sad. Like this is one of the saddest books I have ever read in my life. I never thought that doing a cult vlog or trying to read cult books was going to be like me just crying my eyes out. Cause like even when I read Educated the other day, that one, like I was practically in tears crying about that too, just because like that was also a true story, and like her life was so incredibly hard. And I mean it was hard in like a different way, but in all of these stories these children do not have good parents, and I don't know, it's just like it's just really upsetting. And I guess it's also because of the fact that right now with us being foster parents, and like we've been getting placement calls. I had 2 placement calls this week. One of them we did say yes to, and so we're waiting to hear about that one, and then the other one we had to say no because it was just too much for us to handle at the time. And so I guess like just like all of those emotions, and then all of these emotions reading about these other children that like are with their parents but like obviously are not having good lives with their parents. Like oh my gosh, it is breaking me like literally. So yeah, this was, I mean I don't want to, it's hard to like say that like Educated and like this are 5-star reads, but like this is a 5-star read because of the fact that I had so many emotions and it was so hard to read. I'm not saying it's 5 stars because like, oh I just, you know, love reading books about people that are having hard lives. Like it's not like that. If you like to have emotions when you're reading, if that's one of the reasons why you read is because of the emotions, and you like reading books that have like hard topics to think about, I definitely think that you should pick this book up. Because, and I got this at my library, like it's probably definitely at your library, but oh my gosh, like I never have read a book that like hit me. I mean, okay, I guess you guys have seen me cry with other books, but like this one makes me cry because like this is a true story. Like these things actually happened to these kids, and so like that's what makes it hard. Like it's not like I'm crying for fictional characters. Ugh, it is so sad, but oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm gonna end this vlog here because I need to get a hold of myself. I know that there were definitely 2 other books that I wanted to read for cult vlogs, but they are like fictional books. And so if I do this again, like I think I need to try and stick to a little bit more fictional cult stories, if that makes any sense, instead of like real life ones. Because it's a struggle. But if you've read any of these books that I talked about in my vlog, like definitely let me know. Let me know your thoughts, what you thought about them all. I didn't have exactly fun making this video, but I am glad that I made this video because wow, I've never read books like this in my life, and this was like having a cult vlog was totally different than what I thought it was going to be. So even though this isn't like horror movie cult vlog, this is still real life. It happens. And so if you want to know more about that stuff, read these books and you know, talk to me in the comments. Okay, but that's it for this vlog, you guys. I will see you guys very soon. I'm gonna go cry now. Bye everyone.